The next day I was woken up with a jolt, leaning too forward in my chair and making me catch myself before I could fall. A few footsteps alerted me outside, but it seemed a little far off to be any actual issue, so I didn't pay too much mind to that, instead tilting my head to the side to crack my neck. The slight ache left over my motion caused me to grunt, glancing up to my bed a little in front of my sitting position. And, as if on cue, Kirishima let out a loud snore from his open mouth, air flushing past his shark teeth and letting out a few croggle noises, letting me know audibly that he was still out like a light. And as much as I would originally not mind, the noise makes me stand with a slight drowsiness yawn before moving from the chair to his side. My hand reaches out to the land of the crimson soldier, gently ushering him to and shaking him to wake up. Yep, I should have known it wouldn't do anything to wake the practically knocked out man. Kirishima, I called in a soft tone, trying not to wake him up too harshly, but when he doesn't even stir a little, I sigh and start shaking his shoulder even louder. Come on, you need to wake up, I continued, pushing him and causing him to roll onto his side, and surprisingly, his eyes blinked open. Laziness, his eyes flicker to land on me before he closes them, to go back to sleep again. Oh, hey, my lady, he drawls, words stirring tirelessly, and then his eyes snap open, a new type of alert in them with a large ting of disbelief woven in before he suddenly sits up. My lady! His upper body shoots upwards, bringing him up and into a sitting position, also causing me to jump back slightly so he wouldn't headbutt me on accident. He throws a hurried apology my way. What are you doing here? He questions, looking over me, and after seeing the deadpan expression that falls on his face, shouldn't I be asking you that? I jokingly ask, and after hearing my words, he seems to finally take in his surroundings and realize that he wasn't in his tent, and apparently more importantly, that he was sitting on my bed. And after it took some time to click in his head, his face blushes, bright and nearly as red as his hair. How are you feeling? I question, hoping to ease his flustered state a bit. Oh, actually I feel great, he admits, voiced sheepishly as his hand flips to rub the back of his neck and smile honestly at me. That's good. You don't feel sore or anything, right? I wonder, and he shakes his head, pointedly drawing his arm back from his neck and flexing his bicep a bit, testing the waters on whether the muscles ache or not. I couldn't help my eyes when they wandered to his arm, and it soon draws on me that there is a shirtless soldier sitting in my tent on my bed directly in front of me. Nope, he beams, and the red hue slowly dying from his previous flush as he turns back to me with a newfound familiar sharp-toothed smile. And I clear my throat, trying to look away, but his bare chest as I nod along those words. That's good, I reply slowly. A short silence overtaking our conversation, and just when he's opened his mouth to say something else, Lady Yin, a voice calls from the front of the tent, causing us both to go rigid. Our attention snaps to each other before turning the direction of the voice, my own voice seemingly finding its way as I quickly walk over. Yes? I finally answer, glancing behind me when I hear the slight rustle of sheets when Kirishima steps off his position on the bed, moving to follow after me. He moves off the side, hiding himself, but staying close to hear the conversation I would soon have with the person outside. My head pokes through the curtain, blinking confusion at the soldier who stood on the other side. I'm sorry to bother you so early in the morning, my lady. He greets with a respectful bow. I do not mind. Do you need something, soldier? I question lightly, easing the man's shoulders and causing him to nod. Yes, actually, do you have any idea where your guard Kirishima is? He finally asked for a moment, head slightly tilting to look behind me, almost as if he was searching for the redhead inside my tent. I blush the nervousness from my body, shifting to the side to cover his gaze and force his attention back on me, and I raise a brow questioning. No, I haven't seen him since his shift last night. Why do you ask, soldier? I ask, twisting the question back on him and causing him to step back slightly, clearing his throat. Well, the others need him for some heavy lifting, plus a medic has been searching for him, my lady. He finally adds my title at the end of the sentence. His own nosy gaze falls away from me, glancing to meet my eyes, and not bothering to look behind me since my body language made it clear I wasn't lying. It's just a couple of guards on patrol last night said that they saw him here last night. I raise my hand, causing him to quickly fall silent. He's not here, I assume, gazing hardening along with my tone. But I do wish you on well finding him soon, soldier. I started, earning a slow nod from the man, as eyes slightly moved back, signaling I was done with the conversation by now. Yes, thank you for your time, my lady. He continues, taking the moment for a slight glance behind me once more before I let go of the current and they fall back into place, cutting off his observation. His shadow stands there for a moment longer, and then the small crunch of grass meets my ears, followed by his form retreating from the tent to search elsewhere for the redhead. And, speaking of the witch, Kirishima steps closer to hear the man walk off, eyeing the closed curtains before glancing to me. You should probably get going, I commented, and he nods in agreement. Just not yet. Wait a bit. I'm not sure if he actually left or is waiting further near the tree line. I speak in a low tone and Kirishima nods again. Our conversation pauses when I turn to look back at the entrance, staring for any riffles and shadows that can indicate the man was still there, watching and waiting. Whatever you did last night really helped a bunch. Kirishima speaks up a little, earning scarcely himself in his words and causing him to slightly smile at me as I did him. Thank you. You're welcome, I replied, tilting my head to look at him again. If you're sore and need another massage anytime soon, just let me know. I speak, in the fleeting embers of a flirt flickering past my words. He clears his throat, face flushing and eyes averting away when he nods. I might take you up on that offer sometime, my lady, he comments, nearly forgetting to add my title at the end of his reply. Ian. I corrected him quietly and quickly, turning to face him fully, but my eyes cast elsewhere, hoping to ignore the burst of heat dancing across my cheeks. But in the corner of my eye, I catch his gaze turning in my direction, confusion falling into his visible features as he stares at me. What'd you say? Whenever we're alone, I give you permission to call me by my first name, Kirishima. I addressed his last name to end the conversation and statement, finally taking my eyes off the wall to meet his. They sudden with a start of shock when they meet mine, a hint of sweat dripping across his temple to add to his blushing state when he nods. All right, Ian, he replies almost professionally, trying out the name on his tongue and letting out a breath once his eyes flickered downwards. He was still much shirtless. And now I seem to notice just how close we were actually, stood next to each other, his heat practically radiated off of him from the closeness and my hand, causing him to tense when I reach out and brush my fingers against his shoulder. Holy hell, he's scorching. You know, I state, blushing my gaze back up, and from the slight shift of his Adam's I can see him gulp. You shouldn't be too loud, I stated, trailing my fingers up his neck, and he leans down and I rest my back of my hand against his forehead, feeling the heat. Why? He darts, eyes in a haze as if he had been under some trance, not taking the crimson gaze off of me for one moment as I keep eye contact with him. The other soldier might hear and then we're busted, I mutter, stepping back, whereas he follows, chasing after my touch before blinking and finally snapping out of the trance that I thrust back over to my bed. Also, you said you felt great but you're burning up. I think you might have caught a fever from overworking yesterday. Since the medic is still looking for you, you should have help with something with them. I continued as I was about, collecting his arm guards that I had found in the way of our cross over my tent last night. Looking back over to Kirishima freezes when I left him. my worried gaze watching as he shook his head in an attempt to clear it. Seriously, I do feel bad. That fever must really be messing with him, I inwardly thought, motioned for him to come closer. It takes him a second, but he obliges, hesitantly approaching and grabbing the cuffs when I hold them out for him. Here, you can go back out there, I assume, leading him over to the flap. Just be careful, you know, how bad it'll look if people find out you stayed in my tent last night, I commented, watching the puzzled expression on his face. It takes him a moment to fully collect himself again, his body tense when I place a hand on his muscular back and guide him out. Oh, and Kirishima? I call lightly, and he turns, giving his attention to me once more. Remember what I said about the massage? I mean it. Any time. I stare, his eyes following my gaze as it falls once more and shudders in his movement, when his face flushes with his color yet again. Of course, Yen, he replies just before I snap the tension that had built itself between us with a friendly wave and drop of the flap back in his face, separating us as I could turn and get ready for the day. You're totally making him, well, I can't say that word on YouTube or else I'll get demonetized. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I love you all so much. Mwah.